Dear viewers, the crescendoing tension between Israel and the Hamas Islamic movement is escalating to a precarious tipping point. The situation became particularly critical when a missile struck a hospital in Gaza, leading to a horrifying toll of at least 500 in the mounting conflict. It is the innocents, the civilians, and especially the children of Gaza, who bear the brunt of this calamity. Palestinian health agencies ring the alarm bells that, since the conflict ignited on October 10th, nearly 4,300 Palestinians have paid the ultimate price, with over 1,500 of those being children in the face of Israeli airstrikes. Scores of children, uprooted from their homes, have sought refuge in makeshift shelters and schools overseen by the United Nations. Yet, with limited access to basics like food and clean water, the conditions in these school shelters are deteriorating, with a distressing picture of 100 people crammed into each classroom. Water and electricity are luxuries. Maintaining sanitation and hygiene becomes a daunting task. These schools, even under the UN's vigilant eyes, do not offer a safe haven as they too come under attack. Phen Abu Hen, a psychologist in Gaza, speaks of children exhibiting severe trauma symptoms, seizures, bedwetting, anxiety, aggressive behavior, and an unshakable attachment to their parents. Abu Hen underscores that this lack of security has sown seeds of fear and terror among the populace, with children being the most traumatized. The situation in a house in southern Gaza, housing up to 90 temporary residents, stands as a stark example. It's a jigsaw puzzle to find sleeping space for all, especially for the 30 children under 18. With a shortage of beds, they resort to sleeping in shifts, often on the cold, hard floor. Their trials are magnified during bombings or attacks. Gaza's healthcare system is on the brink of collapse, staggering under the weight of the ongoing conflict. Mental health experts have been waving red flags about the toll on children's mental health. A 2022 report from Save the Children rings alarm bells about rampant mental health distress among Gaza's children. Post the 11-day fighting in 2021, half of Gaza's children stood in dire need of mental health support. This is not post-traumatic stress disorder. The horror is continuous, reliving with every new episode of the armed conflict that has been a grim reality for nearly decades. On October 21st, a building in Gaza City was reduced to rubble by Israel's airstrikes. Nearby, a group of children watched rescue teams sift through the debris, their faces void of emotion, while women wailed in the background. That same morning, the first international humanitarian relief flights took off from Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, crossing the Rafah border into Gaza. Supervised by the United Nations, the first convoy of 20 relief trucks rolled into Gaza through Egypt's Rafah border. However, relief efforts have hit a roadblock. Israel demands verification of aid shipments, and this poses a hurdle to supplying basic necessities to the besieged Palestinian areas. The top brass in Israel, Defense Minister Benny Gantz, recently shed light on Israel's political and military plans for Gaza. This three-phase plan is aimed at establishing a new security entity for Israeli civilians, sans a permanent military presence in Gaza to manage the lives of its 2.3 million inhabitants. This comes in the wake of Israel's withdrawal from the Gaza Strip in 2005. In the backdrop of the Oslo peace agreement inked with the Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO, the Israeli government, under the leadership of then Prime Minister Ariel Sharon, recalled 8,000 settlers and the military from the Gaza Strip, a region they had claimed since the 1967 Six-Day War. The Oslo Agreement opened the doors to a Palestinian self-governing authority, the Palestinian Authority, granting it limited autonomy in certain territories of the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Yet, it fell short of inaugurating an independent Palestinian state. In a statement on October 20th, Defense Minister Jay Gallant outlined Israel's ongoing military campaign. Airstrikes marked the first phase, with ground operations set to follow for neutralizing terrorists and decimating Hamas's infrastructure. Israel's ultimate goal is to forge a new security entity for its inhabitants, eliminating the need for a continual military grip over Gaza and its 2.3 million residents. The final stage would see Israel renouncing responsibility for the lives of Gazans and instating a new security reality for its people. However, the specifics of transitioning governance in the Gaza realm were left unexplained by Gallant. Though Israel withdrew its military and settlements in 2005, it still retains control over Gaza's airspace and territorial waters. The ongoing scenario is likened to military occupation, a term Israel contests as they no longer have troops or settlements on the ground. Even so, Israel asserts control on the grounds of Gaza Strip being designated as Area C, implying it remains under the and security supervision of the Palestinian Authority. Gaza has been under Hamas's dominion since 2007, a consequence of the 1993 Oslo Agreement, after they outmaneuvered forces loyal to the rival Fatah faction a year before. The global community has refrained from recognizing the Hamas government due to its non-recognition of Israel and its continued engagement in violence. Gadi Shamni, an ex-commander of the Israeli Gaza Division and former military attaché in the U.S., projects the Israeli campaign to span 6 to 8 months. Shamni envisions a swift conquest of Gaza in a few weeks, followed by efforts to eliminate and seize all Hamas militants. On the humanitarian front, October 20th marked the release of the first 2 Israeli captives, as confirmed by Hamas's armed wing, the Izz ad-Din al-Qassam brigades, and Israel's Prime Minister's office. The decision to free them was based on humanitarian reasons, in an attempt to refute the allegations made by U.S. President Joe Biden and his administration. During his October 15th visit to Israel, the U.S. leader accused Hamas of cruel acts that led to 1,400 casualties and the abduction of over 200 people in a surprise raid in Israel on October 7th. The 2 women released, Judith Rainon and her daughter Natalie, were identified by official sources from Israel and the United States. Israel's organization representing the families of the missing and kidnapped individuals celebrated this development and urged Arab leaders to expedite the process of freeing the remaining hostages.